All right, let's jump right in, shall we? Today's deep dive takes us all the way to the Himalayas.
Wow. Sounds exciting.
Oh, it is. We're uncovering this incredible festival, Sakela, celebrated by the Khambu Rai people. And, I've been going through all this research,
Yeah.
and I'm already hooked. It's like their whole world is so intertwined with nature and the divine. Even the stones they use have these incredible stories.
Oh, I know a little bit about Sakela. What I find so fascinating is it's not just like a one-time thing.
Right.
It's woven into their whole year. They actually celebrate it twice, right?
Yeah, I was just getting to that.
Huh.
So yeah, they've got Dongwanga in the spring, like right before they plant anything.
Uh-huh.
And then Dongdawa rolls around after the harvest.
It's brilliant, really, like a continuous conversation with nature.
Exactly. Asking for a good harvest, then giving thanks for what they receive, that back and forth.
Absolutely. But it's even deeper than that, I think, because
Uh-oh.
Dongwanga, that spring celebration, it's super connected to this idea of Sakmawa,
Fuck 'em all.
which basically means water that nourishes life.
That's beautiful.
It is, and they believe this Sakmawa, this life force, it flows through like everything.
So when they're celebrating Dongwanga,
Mm.
are they like trying to connect with that?
Yeah, exactly. They're aligning themselves with it, trying to tap into it.
So it's not just about, literal water then, right?
Yeah, it's way bigger than that. It's this spiritual concept, and it really highlights their respect for how everything's connected.
Everything's connected. I like that.
Right. And it's not just about the crops either. Like they even incorporate the changing seasons and the movements of animals into Sakela.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, like they used to watch the demoiselle cranes migrate, across the Himalayas during winter.
Oh, wow.
And for them, those cranes, which they call Narawa, were like a signal from nature, time to start prepping for Sakela.
Wow, so their whole spiritual practice is built around these natural rhythms.
Yes.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, instead of clocks and calendars, they've got the flight of birds and the seasons changing.
It's amazing, isn't it?
It is. So, okay, we've got these amazing celebrations, but who exactly are they praying to during Sakela? Who's this, like, divine force?
Now that is where it gets even more interesting. The spirit is called Sakela,
Okay.
but it's not a god or goddess, not in the way we usually think of them anyway.
Oh, okay. How so?
Well, it's formless and genderless, like this force of nature.
So no specific image or anything?
Nope. They see it as this energy, this force that's just like everywhere and in everything, the most powerful source of life.
Formless, genderless. I'm curious, does that, like, affect how they talk about Sakela or how they, depict it?
Oh, absolutely. You won't find any statues or paintings of Sakela in any kind of human form.
Right.
And even their language reflects it. They don't use gendered pronouns for Sakela.
It's really a whole different way of looking at things.
It really is. And to make it even more complex, different Khambu clans have like slightly different names for this force.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but they all stem from that word Sakmawa.
So even the name itself points to that idea of life-giving energy flowing through everything.
Exactly.
It's amazing. But how does all this reverence for Sakela actually play out in the festival? Like, what do they do to connect with it?
Well, that's where the shaman comes in. Big time.
The shaman.
Yeah, they're the ones who lead the rituals, and they use a stone idol to represent Sakela. And get this, 8 other important spirits too.
A stone idol. Like, is it just any stone or?
Oh no, not just any rock. It's very specific.
Oh.
Yeah, the shaman actually gets guidance in their dreams about where to find the right stone.
Dreams.
Yeah.
Whoa. So they rely on this deep connection to the spiritual realm to guide them.
Exactly.
Tell me more about these dreams, though. What are they like?
That's the thing, they don't really share the specifics of those dreams outside of their community.
Oh, I see.
But what we do know is that these stones are always found in like really remote, untouched locations. It's as if nature itself is pointing the shaman to the right spot.
Wow. So it's almost like the stone is chosen by the spirits, not by humans.
Yeah, you could say that.
That adds a whole other layer of meaning to it all, doesn't it? So we've got the shaman, the sacred stone, the connection to Sakmawa. But what else happens during Sakela? Like, what does it actually look and feel like?
Well, you can't have a Khambu festival without dance, and Sakela is no exception.
Of course not.
It's called the Silly Dance, and it's done after the main ceremonies. Super captivating.
Now we're talking. I've always been fascinated by how cultures express themselves through dance. What's so special about this silly dance? What makes it unique to Sakela, to the Khambu people?
Just imagine this, okay? A circle of men and women, all moving together in sync with the beat of drums and cymbals.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
And their movements, they actually mimic the animals, the birds, even their own farming practices.
Wow, so they're literally embodying their connection to nature through the dance.
Exactly.
But there's got to be more to it than just imitation, right? Is there any deeper symbolism going on?
Oh, definitely. Like I said, it's captivating.
You know that silly dance where
Yeah.
they're mimicking animals and farming?
Yeah.
It's just stuck with me. That visual is so strong.
It's powerful, right? And they're not just imitating. Every movement's layered with meaning.
So it's more than just like a performance then.
Oh, for sure. It's about showing their connection to nature, the cycle of life, death, and rebirth. That whole idea.
You know, it makes me wonder if that circular formation they dance in has something to do with that.
Absolutely. The circle represents that never-ending cycle, like the seasons.
Right, right.
Life's a continuous flow for them. And remember those demoiselle cranes? Their migration, how they fly in those perfect circles?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, for the Khambu Rai, that's a powerful symbol of that same concept.
Ah, I see. So the birds aren't just birds. They're like messengers of that energy. It all ties back to using the crane's migration as a cue for Sakela too.
You got it. Everything's connected for them. The birds, the seasons, the rituals, it all comes together to create meaning.
Makes sense. Speaking of connected, let's go back to those two parts of Sakela.
Sure.
Dongwanga in the spring and Dongdawa in the autumn.
Right.
We talked about how they mirror the agricultural cycle, but I feel like there's more to it, isn't there?
Oh, definitely. Dongwanga, the one before planting, it's not just about a good harvest. It's about tapping into that life force, Sakmawa,
Yeah.
seeking blessings for the whole year, not just for crops, for all of life, really.
It's like they're not just asking for stuff, they're trying to be part of something bigger.
Yes, aligning themselves with that energy.
And then Dongdawa comes after the harvest, right?
Right.
So then it's about showing gratitude for what they got.
That's it. Gratitude for the abundance they've received, not just from Sakela, but, well, from everything that keeps them going.
It's so different from how we usually think of harvest festivals. Well, it's not just about celebrating the food. It's about acknowledging that they're part of a bigger system.
And that comes out in the silly dance, too. We were talking about the animal movements and the farming, but they use those to show different life stages, too.
Interesting. Like how?
Well, for example, the way they mimic sowing seeds, that symbolizes birth and new beginnings.
Oh, I see.
And then the harvesting actions, those represent a life coming to an end, a life well lived.
Wow, it's like they're telling a story with their bodies, the whole cycle of existence.
Exactly. And don't forget the shaman. They're crucial to all of this.
Yeah, that connection between the human world and the spirit world.
Right. They're able to tap into the divine through their dreams, find those sacred stones. It's all connected.
Which reminds me, you mentioned that the stone they use in Sakela isn't just for Sakela, but for 8 other spirits too.
Yeah.
What can you tell us about them? Like, what are they all about?
Sadly, they're pretty secretive about those 8 spirits. They don't share much outside their community.
Well, that's too bad.
But from what we can gather, they probably represent parts of the natural world that are important to their way of life. Mountains, rivers, forests, animals, that sort of thing.
So it's like a whole pantheon of spirits.
Exactly. It shows how much they value all the different forces in their world.
And by honoring all those spirits, they're acknowledging how dependent they are on nature.
You got it. And that ties into something we mentioned before about how Sakela challenges human superiority.
Right, right.
It's not about putting humans first. It's about respecting everything in the natural world.
It's a good reminder for us, you know.
How so?
Well, today we're so disconnected from nature, so caught up in our own stuff. Sakela shows a different way of being, one where respecting all forms of life comes first. It really makes you wonder about their sense of time.
What do you mean?
Well, they're not using clocks or calendars. They're going by the crane's migration, the seasons changing. How does that affect how they see time passing?
That's a really interesting question. It really gets to the heart of how different their worldview is. You see, time isn't linear for them, it's cyclical.
Oh, interesting.
The past isn't gone, it's all woven into the present and the future. The seasons coming and going, the cranes migrating, those rituals they keep doing, it all reinforces this idea of continuity.
It's like time is a circle, always turning.
Exactly.
This deep dive has really opened my eyes to a whole different way of seeing the world.
It really has, hasn't it? And even though we don't live as close to nature as they do, I think there's still a lot we can learn from the Khambu Rai.
Absolutely. Sakela and their respect for Sakmawa, it reminds us that we're all part of something so much bigger than ourselves.
Couldn't have said it better myself. But as we mentioned before, it's tough for cultures like theirs to hold on to these traditions.
Especially with the world changing so fast.
You're right. In our last segment, we'll talk about the challenges they face and how they're fighting to keep their cultural heritage alive.
It's amazing to think about everything we've learned about Sakela.
It really is a unique festival.
So tied to nature, to the Khambu Rai's whole way of seeing the world.
Yeah,
But holding on to traditions like this, especially in a world that's, well, changing so fast,
right.
can't be easy.
You're absolutely right. The Khambu Rai, like a lot of indigenous groups, they're facing all these pressures. Modernization, globalization, you name it.
Yeah,
And younger generations, they're drawn to cities,
right.
right? For jobs, for education.
Makes sense.
But it can mean losing touch with their ancestral lands, their traditions.
It's like those demoiselle cranes we talked about, migrating between different worlds. Maybe these younger generations are kind of doing the same thing.
That's a good way to put it, navigating between the world of their ancestors and the modern world.
Exactly. And, it's a challenge for sure, but it also shows how resilient they are.
Oh, absolutely. They're finding new ways to adapt to keep those core values of Sakela alive.
I'd love to hear more about that. How are they bridging that gap, between the old and the new?
Well, for one, they're starting to organize Sakela celebrations in cities,
Oh, interesting.
bringing the festival to the people.
So smart. So even if they've
Right.
moved away, they can still connect with their roots.
Exactly. It's about making it relevant to their lives today, not just preserving the past, but finding ways to make it meaningful right now.
I love that. And is technology playing a role too?
Definitely. There are online communities, social media groups, all dedicated to sharing knowledge about Sakela.
Of course.
Khambu Rai from all over the world can connect, keep those lines of communication open.
Yeah, it's amazing how technology can help preserve cultures in the digital age.
It really is. It's not just about staying connected, though. It's about actively protecting their heritage.
How so?
Well, there's a movement now. A lot of Khambu intellectuals and activists, they're working hard to document their oral traditions.
Oh, that's so important.
Right. The stories, the songs, the rituals, everything.
Yeah, those oral traditions, they're the heart of a culture. If they're not written down, they can be lost so easily.
Exactly. They want to make sure those stories are passed on to future generations. And by sharing it with the world, they're inviting others to learn and appreciate their culture.
So even with all the challenges, there's still a lot of hope. They're determined to keep Sakela alive.
Oh, definitely. Their connection to their traditions is so strong. They understand how important that link to the past is, to their ancestors, to that relationship with nature that shapes their whole lives.
And it's not just about preserving it. It's about using those traditions to help them navigate today's world.
Right. Holding on to those values of respect, interconnectedness, gratitude, all the things that Sakela represents.
Sakela is more than just a festival, isn't it?
It really is. It's a way of life, a philosophy, a way of remembering that we're all part of something much bigger than ourselves. And that message, it can resonate with everyone, not just the Khambu Rai.
It really can. So as we wrap up our deep dive into Sakela, I'm just in awe of their connection to nature, how they adapt to change, and all the wisdom their traditions hold.
It's been an incredible journey. If you had to boil everything down to one key takeaway, what would it be?
It's a good question. I think it would be this. The next time you see birds flying, especially if they're in that circular formation,
Okay.
just pause for a moment and think about the stories they carry. Imagine all the landscapes they've seen, the seasons they've lived through, that ancient connection to nature.
Beautiful. A way to connect with the spirit of Sakela no matter where we are.
Exactly. To everyone listening, we encourage you to learn more about the Khambu Rai and their incredible traditions. Explore different cultures, step outside your comfort zone, and you might just find some unexpected connections.
And until our next deep dive, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep looking for those moments that make you see the world differently.
Happy exploring, everyone!